Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I am Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful, illustrious chat moderator and producer, Danny Nixon.
Hola, everybody.
Danny, we're doing something different this evening.
Are you asking the questions and I'm answering them?
Yeah, that's it. No, we've done that already. That was the Danny Nixon Show. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did do that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did that one. Yeah, we did that already. We're exhausting all of our brilliant possibilities. We're gonna exhaust another one this evening. Although if this goes well, we'll do it again down the road. Tonight, I'm going to attempt to answer more questions in one evening than I ever have before. I have a reputation for not being great with brevity and taking a long time to answer things, being really super thorough. So I'm going to put on my brief hat tonight, and I'm going to attempt to answer 52 of your questions within just 1 hour or less. I'm going to start the clock here in just a second after a little bit of preamble. What we need you guys tonight to do is what you always do. Ask us some questions. We got to make sure that we have 52, and I think that won't be difficult at all. As always, Danny's shaking his head. He's like, no, we've already got that mini cab.
We've got 104.
Do we really?
No, I was just saying double 52.
Oh, okay. But that just the problem with that joke is that it, like a lot of jokes these days, it just wasn't absurd enough for me to be sure that it was actually a joke.
We've got 5,200 there. That works.
So some of you guys might ask things that you would like a longer response to. I will physically not be able to do that tonight. To answer 52 questions in an hour, they're going to have to be just over a minute a piece, the answers. So I won't be able to go as in-depth as I usually do. So maybe keep the questions a little bit simpler. Big meaning of life questions probably aren't going to go great tonight, or I'll have to just touch on them and maybe get back to them sometime down the road. If not that I have any answers about the meaning of life, but if you want to ask a question that you make sure that and make sure it gets answered, as usual, you can leave a super chat. We will be prioritizing both sides like we usually do. So we'll answer some pre-written, some super chats, and we won't do super chats immediately when they come in necessarily. So we'll make sure not to shaft people that are asking questions pre-written, and please keep please don't ask the kinds of questions that folks sometimes do where you want like a whole list of things, because I just can't do that in a minute. It's like, who are your top 5 favorite of a thing? Those kinds of questions aren't going to go great with this particular format. So that is what we are doing this evening. My answer is many questions as humanly possible. Everybody, thanks a lot for being here. I see lots of folks in the comments. I see David Crabtree, Cinematographic, Blue Dragon 5 is here. Witch King. That's not a name I immediately recognize, Danny. Witch King. Grady Childs is here. William Purcell's here. Kellen O'Rourke, AMC Comics. Thanks for being here, guys. Blue Dragon 5. Christian Ogden.
Excuse me.
John Early. Good to see all you guys. And Danny, are you ready, or do you need to sneeze some more?
That was a cough, but I am good.
Oh, it sounded like a sneeze.
It was kind of because I like covered my mouth.
Okay.
But no. Other than
do
that,
your hiccups also sound like sneezes? Just like you get stuck with hiccups just every 20 seconds. Like,
yeah. No. No, but I do sneeze like every 3 hours at work, it seems. Like
okay, Danny, since I'm going to be answering 52 questions, I don't know that you're going to get as much of a chance to weigh in as you usually do.
No, that's fine. I wasn't planning on it either. Anyways.
But feel free to have real clipped answers for things if you really want to weigh in on something, okay?
Deal.
All right, buddy, are you ready?
I am ready.
Hour on the clock, starting it right now. Here we go. I almost did. You know what I almost did, right? I almost said, everybody, please press play.
Yeah.
Right now. All right, here we go. Putting 1 hour on the clock, and away we go. Danny, let's answer some questions. Go.
All right, we'll start with a super chat that's got 3 different questions. It's from Thomas Edgehill. His first question is, have you seen the latest episode of The Orville?
I have not. I saw the 2-parter, but not the latest one. And the 2-parter is absolutely wonderful. I love it. I don't think there are very many Star Trek 2-parters that are better than it. It is on par or better with a bunch of them, and it's absolutely wonderful. Let me also say, with Super Chats, please don't ask more than one question. These 3, I guess, will count as questions, but we should try to limit people to 1 question if we can. So I'll answer the next couple real fast. Go ahead.
All right. He says, when is the next omnibus?
The next omnibus is shooting on Sunday and will come up as close to Thursday next week as humanly possible. I will get the Captain Marvel spoiler cast out before that, though. So that I will go ahead and front load and get edited real quick apart from the rest of the omnibus. So that should go up like Monday. Monday or Tuesday, but almost certainly Monday.
All right. His last question is, what old Disney shows would you like to see on Disney Plus?
Old Disney shows, goodness. Darkwing Duck, of course, is a big one. Gargoyles is a big one. Yeah, those are the first two big things that come to mind, and then a lot of the old Disney cartoons. It would just be great to have there. I was not a big Mickey Mouse guy. I was always more of a Bugs Bunny and Warner Brothers guy. Roadrunner is my favorite cartoon of all time. But there's a lot of that stuff I've never seen. And I'm sure a few that I saw when I was a kid when we had the Disney Channel that if I saw now, it would spark memories and be like, oh man, I forgot all about this. So yeah, that's a big one. What else, Danny?
All right. Kellen O'Rourke says, is the Orville on Blu-ray?
The Orville is on DVD. I actually just bought it yesterday, as a matter of fact. Brandon and I went out to Target. We bought the last two copies they had. I have not seen it on Blu-ray, but I'm not sure if that place is laid out where there's like a Blu-ray section, and I just missed it, but I don't think so. I think everything is all together. So maybe they were just trying to cut costs. The first season is $20 on DVD, which is a good price, but the special features are nothing. I just looked at those tonight, and there's just not a lot there. There's a con panel that's worth watching, but everything else is just little short things they had already put on Fox. It's not great. What else?
All right. Kellen O'Rourke said that wasn't a real question. Sorry, I thought it was one of the shorter ones.
But it counts. It counts.
William Parcell says, who do you think the best superhero leader is?
Best superhero of like a team? Probably Captain America. I mean, it depends on who's writing him, right? It is sometimes Batman when he's leading his Bat family, but of course he can sometimes be a liability and kind of running off half-cocked on his own. It always depends on who's writing who, right? Like what exactly we're talking about. Like sometimes Cyclops is great. And I'm sure for a lot of X-Men fans, that would be their big answer is like Cyclops tends to be a really good leader character. And like even Professor X, like not all the time because he can be really morally ambiguous.
Yeah. Our next question is from David Crabtree. He says, Cap, given today's current geopolitical landscape, what did you think of the new Batman v TMNT trailer?
It looks great. Have you seen it, Danny? It looks awesome.
I watched it with the sound off because I was at work and it was on my phone. And
okay, but the designs look really good, right? Like,
yeah, I'm just kind of confused why they went with modern Robin and Batgirl for a more classic Batman design.
I am too, but that we already knew about. I mean, like from the still that we already knew about that. I'm excited about the turtle designs more than anything. Like the turtles themselves, and I've said this before, they look kind of like Mike Mignola inspired, especially Raphael, which is really cool. I'm just excited that it's designs we've never really seen before. That they're not crossing two different versions that we're already familiar with. They're creating a new thing that is a crossover with these characters. I'm excited about the like 1987 cartoon inspired characters with like Shredder and Baxter Stockman. It looks like Baxter Stockman is a fly, and Shredder, it looks like that version, but like darker and edgier, and that is super cool to me. I'm stoked about that, and I think the best thing about it so far that we know is that from that we can tell that it's not interdimensional and that Gotham and New York and that universe just exist in the same world, and both the Turtles and Batman each think the other one is an urban legend. It's awesome. That's all I wanted from this, and that's what we're getting. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I think that's a great twist on how to get them together. Our next question is from Stussy. That's a new name I'm not familiar with. He or she says, what was more disappointing, Spider-Man 3, X-Men 3, or X-Men Apocalypse?
Ooh, so we did this before with those first two, right? Like recently we had that, but I think the last one was, I forget what the other one was, but they were harder than this. So I mean, this is still kind of hard. Because I just had this conversation the other day because we did a viewing of X-Men 3 at my house, and everybody's going, why'd you guys do that? Because we're watching through the X-Men movies right now because my son hasn't seen them all, and he wanted to watch even the bad ones. So we're doing screenings of everything, including the really crappy ones. And I had this conversation. Jeffrey was here, Jeff Patron, and Jeffrey brought me James T. Kirk whiskey. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Nice.
And we did a video on this, and I'll post that soon. Anyway, we had a good time. But yeah, he came all the way from New Jersey to watch a bad X-Men movie, and we. And we had that conversation, like, what's worse, X-Men 3 or Apocalypse? And for him, it was Apocalypse. I think that's a tough call. I think Apocalypse is probably technically a better movie, but it irritates me in somewhat similar ways sometimes too. So yeah, I'm gonna say of those three right now, probably X-Men 3, probably. Yeah.
Nice. All right.
But I think that's tough. I think in a different mood, I can say something else. All right, go ahead.
All right, I'll jump back down to the super chats. Tyler Parker, thoughts on Arrow's cancellation?
It's coming too late. Did we talk about this last week?
Yes, we talked about them finally ending it.
So see last Captain Logan show for a lengthier response. But yeah, I'm glad it's finally ending. I'm glad like if we were going to end it as early as they're ending it, which sounds weird saying season 8, but if we weren't going to go all the way to 10, you might as well have ended it at 5, right? Yeah. Just because it would have made so much sense with the initial structure of that show to not go past 5. And I think it's kind of sad that that didn't happen, but I'm glad to know that they can continue that universe without Arrow, and they don't feel like they have to have every show they've ever made constantly going on. So that could be that could be even like a legacy thing where we have, you know, shows that start and shows that end, and the continuity continues going on. I also could see CW decided to move on from that continuity in a few years and shutting the whole thing down entirely. I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad it's not going to 10 because that is ridiculous. But 8 is also ridiculous.
All right. Our next question is from Anime 2019.
Yes. Hello.
Are you disappointed or are you okay with Bob the Goon not being a Joker henchman in any of the Batman cartoons?
It's weird that he's never come back anywhere, right? And I don't know, like maybe it's just me and Danny and like a few other people that because he got an action figure and because he has kind of a distinct look in that movie, we're like, oh yeah, he's such a fun character. We were being silly when we made the Bob the Goon commentary. We don't really think he's that great of a character. But
speak for yourself.
Obviously he doesn't get a whole lot to do, but we just thought it would be amusing to try to see if we could manage to talk that long about Bob the Goon. But yeah, we've done it with Chief O'Hara. He shows up in things. Why have we, as far as I know, never seen Bob the Goon in anything else? If I got to write on Batman, it would be one of the first things I did. Danny, how many questions have I answered so far?
That is 9.
Hey, we are on track. All right, go ahead.
All right. I just had the question. Sorry, Blue Dragon 5. Cap, if you went back in time, Days of Future Past style, to the middle of Spawn year, what would you say to yourself to give you hope again?
If that's great. People like it, and the finale will get a lot of love, and you're gonna learn a lot, and your stuff won't be as good down the road if you don't finish it. And I guess I would say lots of things to myself, and also you'll never forgive yourself if you don't finish it.
All right, Hawk Flame asks if not Captain Marvel, if Shazam is successful with audiences and critics, is it safe to say that the DC brand in film is back on track?
So first of all, that is a completely understandable mistake that you just made, because that is Captain Marvel, but we're just not calling it that. I still think it's fascinating that those movies are coming out a month apart. I think it's great. I think it is safe to say that we should be optimistic. Yeah. On the right track, maybe I would go even that far. Yeah, absolutely. Because like I would want 3 successes in a row, like big successes. Like what was the thing immediately before Aquaman, Danny? As far as like a DC slate stuff, like was it Justice League? Did we have nothing after Justice League?
I think it was just Justice League because I don't remember anything else.
So that means that means for me to be remotely comfortable thinking that Warner's is on the right track and they're not gonna kind of go back on things like they have before and start and kind of start from scratch again. I need to see 3 successes in a row, or I need to see 3 movies in a row, regardless of how well they do, where Warner sticks to their guns and continues with the current strategy. Because the strategy they've got right now is the right one, which is let's just make good movies and see what happens and not worry about continuity until it naturally comes together. I will be a little bit I'll be scared about it if Joker is a big flop, no matter how that movie is. That they'll kind of turn tail and go back to the drawing board again. But if that doesn't happen, if that's successful, or if they just go, okay, well, we had one dud, but it doesn't really matter because it was on its own, and Aquaman was really popular and Shazam was really popular. Yeah, definitely on the right track. And I haven't read early reviews, but I did see a thing today that said that all the early critics seem to really like it. So I think it's going to be a hit for them.
Nice. Our next question is a super chat from Andrew Follett. He says, which would you rather have? A Hot Toys tick or a Lego's 60s bat cave?
Well, that's hard to say because I don't think there is a Hot Toys tick and there is a 60s bat cave. So I already know what that looks like, and it's awesome. Yeah.
He said if the Hot Toys tick was real.
That's hard to say because one of these I already know what it looks like and I want one, and the other one I wouldn't know what it looked like yet. So like which tick are we talking with Hot Toys? You know what I mean? Like I would say probably the 60s Batcave. Well, I don't know. That's hard because I collect everything tick. So like if that ever came out, I would have to buy it regardless of whether I wanted it or not. I would end up buying that, and I'm sure I would love it. But no, I would have to prioritize the tick because of the way I collect the tick. But as far as what I would be more excited about, I don't know, Danny. For the last 2 years, I've really wanted to get my hands on one of those. I just have not prioritized it and saved up for it. So it is hard. It is hard to put one above the other.
All right. Jeffrey E. Patron says, how many lights are there?
There are, I believe you'll find that there are 5. In this room right now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 on, but then there's 3 more behind me. So I have 7 lights. I have 7 lights in this room. Plus that one, if it counted as a light, if I had it on. So it's not on right now. And it's more of like a sign, the light, really. There's also a lighted sign over there, but it's not really a light.
All right. Kevin Spacey asks, what is your favorite James Bond movie?
It's Skyfall. It's the obvious answer, but it is. It's Skyfall, most assuredly.
All right, let me go back down to our super chats. Grady Childs asks.
I'm not going to elaborate, Danny. We got lots of questions to answer.
No, I'm trying to scroll back down after I deleted the question. Hey, Cap, have you ever watched the How to Train Your Dragon series?
I have never seen those. I have not. Nope. I'm not a big DreamWorks guy. I've heard great things about that first movie. I have seen it in the background at like, families' houses and stuff, and I can't get into the animation. It looks kind of unfinished to me, so I've never sat down and watched it. But at some point, maybe I will. I did finally watch Kung Fu Panda and liked it a lot. So,
all right, Christian Ogden says, "I'm always 2 years behind on comics. What titles and characters from the Rebirth era are worth checking out?"
I'll just throw out a couple real quick. Obviously, Top Cow's Batman. Tom King's Batman is at the top of the list. And then I'm blanking on things. You gotta really good. Say it again.
Deathstroke was really
Is good. It really? I haven't read that. I like what little I read of Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is weird because that's a book I said I could never read, and then they did stuff with Bizarro, and it was great. But I think you've got to read Snyder's event. Why am I not thinking? Dark Knight's Metal? Yeah, you got to read Metal. It's wonderful, and some of the tie-ins with that are great. I liked Superman until I didn't. So I don't know that I recommend that really. Super Sons was fun, what I read of that, but I haven't read a ton of that. I liked the beginning of Snyder's Justice League too, but I haven't read any farther in that. And a lot of Rebirth is really solid.
All right. Professor Zoom 21. Hi, Cap. Are you going to review manga at some point?
I mean, every now and again, Eric will have me sit down and read something, and we'll talk about it. I am gonna dive into Alita at some point here soon because I loved the movie a lot. I saw it twice. I kind of want to go again. I don't even know if I can go to the theater again because it hasn't been like insanely successful. I don't know if it's even playing anymore. But anyway, I will review some of this at some point probably. But yeah, I don't immediately gravitate toward manga, so I kind of need a guide. I kind of have to have somebody, hand me things that they say is great, and then I'll try things. But yeah, so down the road, there could be more of that, but probably always with Eric. I don't feel real qualified to talk about that stuff by myself, really.
All right, Cinematographic asks, what is one thing about Batman 89 that you would change or rewrite?
The entire third act. Yeah, the entire third act, because it's kind of just kids playing with action figures by the time you get to the cathedral. So yeah, that's the big thing. And then also the scene in the Flugelheim Museum where Joker's talking to Vicky Vale, and he explains what he wants from her and then acts like they haven't talked about it. It's just weird. I know he's a crazy person, but I think that's just weird, lazy writing. I don't know what's going on there. But no, if I could, the big thing I would change is not much from the original first draft, because it's really, really good, and that's the movie they should have made. All
right, Dewan Patterson Powers. Would you or have you watched Akira?
I have not, but I would like to. Yeah. That was way up on my list with Ghost in the Shell, and I finally got to see Ghost in the Shell. Akira's another of the, of course, big anime sci-fi things I've never watched. I did years ago see Metropolis though, and I would like to watch that again. It's really good.
All right, our next question, getting back to the super chats, The Vampire Diaries. Is there any chance of you doing more season overviews for Teen Wolf?
I gotta be honest, I really don't want to. Because I was not loving second season, and I've talked about this before. But I feel like at this point, if I came back, and originally I said I would do the 3, but I'm just afraid that the people who really, really like that show, those are the people who are going to watch those videos, and they're not going to like me because I kind of stopped caring and I kind of stopped liking it, and like maybe it could turn me around. But I don't know. I'm not saying no, but I don't want to. Just to be totally honest about it.
All right. George White asks, do you think Han and Luke should have interacted in the sequel trilogy, Star Wars?
I mean, it would have been, yeah, it would have been nice, certainly. It depends, obviously, on the story that we're telling. I don't want to say, like, let's totally rewrite the story, because, like, that's a big thing fans wanted, and we just absolutely had to see that happen. I imagine they would have in a third movie if she hadn't passed away. I bet the plan. Well, no, I say that. I guess he dies in that. Never mind. Yeah.
Han and Luke.
Oh, Han and Luke. I'm sorry. I was thinking Leia. I'm answering a lot of questions at once here.
No, you're good. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't mispronounced Luke.
Again, with the story they were telling, I see why that didn't happen, and maybe his death is more tragic because that doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would have been a nice thing to have, and I guess you could make the argument the other way, that it would have been more bittersweet if they did get an interaction together before that happened. But some of that is just story compromise stuff, where like they clearly had intended for Luke to be in a lot more of that first movie and not just be introduced at the end of it originally, and then for various reasons they had to rewrite it so that he was there just at the end. So I understand why it happened the way it happened. Doesn't bug me. I guess in a perfect world it would have been nice to have, though.
All right, our next question is a super chat from Random Reviewer.
Thanks, man.
When can we expect commentaries for Logan and Wonder Woman?
I'm not sure. Of commentaries I want to do, those would be well toward the top of the list, certainly. I'm not going to do a lot more movie commentaries until after Morphomania is done, probably, much to some people's chagrin, I'm sure, but that's taken up a couple of nights a week right now, and I know some people aren't super excited about that, and it's not a thing that they wanted, but it's a thing we plan, and I like to try to finish things I start. Don't always manage that, but I'm trying with this, and we're having a good time with it. But I'm not saying no movie commentaries until it's done. I just don't want to promise certain things. As far as Logan goes, See, I don't want to say anything. Because okay. So I will say there is a thing that I've been planning that I'm hoping will happen, but I can't be totally sure that it will. So Logan would be part of it if it ended up happening. As far as Wonder Woman, yeah, I just got to find somebody that really wants to watch that with me. It's kind of just a matter of finding the time and then the right person, just a person that is really interested in that in that movie or knows a lot about the character or whatever it happens to be. I am going to be doing commentary soon with Oliver Harper. We're going to go through some more Jurassic Park in the not too distant future. And I did pitch Wonder Woman to him, and he seemed more interested in going through the Jurassic Park. So that's what I'm going to do with him. But it could happen down the line too. Oliver's always game to come back, and it's just been a while since I've had him. So anyway, I'm excited about that. I love Oliver. It's been a couple of years since I talked to him. It's been longer than that since we had a movie commentary, and he's great. So I'm excited about that. But anyway, Danny, how many have I done so far?
5, 10, 15, 22.
22, and we are 21 minutes in. So I need to go a little bit quicker, but we're doing okay. Go ahead.
All right. Witch King asks, Cap, did you listen to the Spawn album by Iced Earth for Spawn Year?
Yeah, not only did I listen to it, but I listened to that semi-regularly, actually. It's a flawed concept album, but and there's tracks I don't love, but I listened to it well before Spawn Year, years before. Back in the kind of LimeWire days, I stumbled upon it and bought that album and listened to it a lot. I love The Hunter. I love Violate. Violate! It's great. Yeah, it's a fun album, and if you go listen to Iced Earth's earlier stuff, and then you listen to that album, because that's only their like third or fourth album. He is I forget his name. He's a way better singer in that album, Danny, because he got voice lessons to do it, and you can tell the difference. It's great. Also, quick plug for Iced Earth. They did an album several years ago. I forget the name of it. Is it Dystopia? I think is maybe the name of it. Where they did a bunch of songs about dystopian science fiction and science fiction movies, and every one of them is a song about a particular movie, talking about the ideas and sometimes even story stuff. And their Dark City track is fantastic. I think it's the best thing they've written, though I don't know their entire discography. But of what I've heard, I think it's great.
All right, our next question is a super chat from Pandora. What are your thoughts on Scott Snyder's 0 Year Batman story?
I like 0 Year a lot. I have not reviewed it. I need to get to that at some point. It's one of the two stories in his one that I haven't really talked about that much. People were always asking, when are we finally going to get a good Riddler story? There it is. We got 0 Year. And of course, War Jokes and Riddles is really good too. So we've now got some good Riddler stuff. It's too big. The Riddler being kind of the cause of a no man's land before no man's land, or maybe there never is a no man's land, Danny, with Rebirth. I can't tell you. But
because I have 5 issues or 5 trades of it.
Well, yeah, but they wiped all kinds of stuff away. Pretty clearly, if Dark or Nightfall happened, it also probably happened a little bit differently. But anyway, it's too big, but I like it a lot. I will review it at some point.
All right. 5590ers or 5590 ERS. What Marvel movies or what Marvel stories would you like to see adapted into animated films?
Into animated films, I feel like I've answered this before. It would be cool, and some people are going to be annoyed at me for saying this. It would be cool to get a more like straight up adaptation.
Adaptation.
I'm gonna redact what I just said. Adaptation of Gauntlet, just because I love that story, and we did some nice things with it in Infinity War, but it would be cool to see it just straight up done. It would be cool to do a Silver Surfer Galactus movie, maybe an origin thing, maybe a story set on Earth, but with the origin behind it. I mean, you can do cool things with Secret Wars. A lot of the events are kind of ripe, I would say, for that. The biggest thing, and I've said this 1,000 times, I think one of the most adaptable things for an animated movie, because I'm saying that, but then what we often do with the DC ones is we'll take a big event and then we'll truncate it too much, and then it wasn't really worth doing in the first place, like that's Superman. So maybe I should be saying things like I've said before, more like Kraven's Last Hunt and stuff like that, where it's kind of a singular one and done story that you can more easily do in 80 minutes. So yeah, Kraven's Last Hunt is a big one, and sure there's all kinds of things that I'm not thinking of right now that I should be. But I don't know if there are a lot of X-Men stories that you could do in an 80-minute format real well. We keep trying with Dark Phoenix in live actions. I don't know.
All right, our next question is from AMC Comics. Hey, Cap, did you ever finish watching Titans?
No. I watched the pilot, and I hated it, and I could not begin to take it seriously, and I've not watched any more of that. And I'm not going to say I never will, because sometimes I get too curious, but I don't want to. It was awful, and I'm like, I usually like to give things 2 or 3 episodes if it's a thing that I thought, that I was excited about in the first place, and I thought had promise, but everything I've heard about that show, it looks like it just keeps going in the dark for no reason direction, and with characters that are not really their comic book counterparts at all, and who don't sound any more interesting. So yeah, maybe at some point, just for the sake of completion, because I tend to watch most superhero stuff, I may take a look at it. But if I watch Titans, I'm also gonna finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
All right, our next question.
I'm not putting those on the same plane either. I'm just saying there are other things I would probably check out first.
Our next question comes from William Parcell. He says, are there any superhero costume changes you wish stayed permanent?
Oh boy, I feel like we've gotten this before. So I love Spider-Man's black costume, but I can't say that I wish we'd stayed with it forever, and we do tend to sometimes find cool reasons to bring it back. Like, I don't know if you agree with this, Danny. I feel like the black costume has gotten so much love that it's kind of thought of as like the other iconic Spider-Man costume. Like, he can kind of wear either at this point.
Yeah, I think there's definitely that feeling that he can go back and forth, and we don't need a story reason because it looks cool.
Yeah. That Dark Knight Batman suit that we got right before 52, that it has that brings the circle back. I wish we'd hung on to that for a while because it's wonderful. I don't think there was any reason to ever change Nightwing's costume.
Yeah,
I don't. What's that?
The red looked dumb.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I mean, yeah, get rid of the mullet and stuff. Maybe the yellow thing doesn't have to be as pronounced, but I don't think we ever needed to get away from the blue and yellow. I've always liked that design a lot. I don't think there's any reason to ever get rid of. And I guess that's not exactly your question, is it like redesigns? But like, do we need to change Red Robin? Like, some of these things are pretty iconic in the first place, and some of them are slight redesigns that we kind of perfected and we didn't really need to get away from. But those are the first things that come to my mind.
All right. Azim Abu Khalil. What's worse? A first film that does a poor job establishing a character, or a sequel that does a poor job furthering his or her development?
Ooh, that's tough, right? Man. Okay, read that one more time, just so I can think about it a second.
Yeah. What's worse? A first film that does a poor job establishing a character, or a sequel that does a poor job further developing their character?
Yeah, I guess the answer to that question is, once you get that sequel, if there was kind of a not great first movie, but it wasn't unsalvageable, and then you didn't take the opportunity to like really flesh that character out, that is kind of worse. But when you sit on a movie that didn't get a sequel, that wasn't wonderfully well established, and you never get that chance to do more, that often feels worse to me, just because there's no reason to ever go back to it. But no, I think those problems are kind of on par, honestly. I have a hard time putting one of those above the other.
All right, our next question, jumping back down to the super chat.
That is a hard one to answer in less than a minute. Go ahead.
That's why I wanted to throw that one in there. Pandora asks, what are your thoughts on the new Hellboy trailer?
I'm just not digging on it, man. Like, it looks better than it did, but with the tone that they're pushing with those trailers and the special effects, if they don't end up looking significantly different once we get into the movie theater, I just don't think it looks different enough from what came before. It needed to be a massive, drastic redesign, and totally different, and sold very tonally different. If it ends up being a much different movie from the way they're advertising it, my tune will change later after we see it. But just right now, given the way it's advertising and what it looks like, it is hurting my feelings even more that we never got that third Del Toro movie. because it feels like a reboot of that. It doesn't feel like we went back to the well. It feels like a reboot of Del Toro, and that's very strange.
Yeah. Our next question is from William Parcell. What do you think would be a proper ending to Batman's story?
Batman Beyond. Yeah, I mean, like, this is a thing that we explore a lot with Batman. You know, what he does in his final days and how, like, I always have a tough time with Batman dying. I feel like he's a character that is all about survival, and if anybody was going to find a way to live forever, it would probably be Batman. Like, I see Batman as like a head in a jar, or like having his mind in like a collective consciousness or something. I'm not saying that's what I would want. It's always hard for me to think of to consider like what would the actual end of Batman be. But you know, people will kick around like, should it be, you know, at the hands of the Joker, or you know, how exactly like should he go out? Should it be like a blaze of glory kind of thing? I don't know. It's tough. I think there's a lot of good ways to do it. I don't want to cop out on this. I don't have like a brilliant idea or anything.
I think for me, it would be getting gunned down, saving a parents and a child. Bring a full circle. That's how he dies, just at the hand of a gun.
Yeah, that's fair. I suppose. I don't know. I feel like I would be like not satisfied with anything. I don't know.
Yeah. Our next question is from Hawk Flame. He says, any thoughts on the Shang-Chi movie getting a director?
Yeah, I didn't even know that was happening at all until like 10 minutes before the show started. So yeah, I don't even know who the director is. I don't have a I don't have anything to say about that. It's I guess it's cool that's being made. But yeah, I don't have any thoughts on it yet. I got to look into it.
All right, Kevin Spacey says,
I will say I always wondered if that was one that would happen. Hope it's better than Iron Fist. Go ahead.
Kevin Spacey asks, how successful will the Spawn reboot be?
It's either going to flop or it's going to be terrible and do great. One of these things is going to happen. I don't know. That studio has had a really good track record lately, and I think it has a chance at being really popular, even if it sucks. Honestly, it's not going to have a big, massive budget, so it doesn't have to do big, giant guns to be successful. I don't want to make any predictions about opening weekend or anything until I've seen a trailer and I see how people are reacting to it. But I think the horror crowd will go, and I think some of the superhero crowd will go. But it will be interesting to see how that movie is sold, because McFarlane keeps talking about it like it's not a superhero movie at all. And so what you see in the trailer and whether or not there is a big red cape is going to have a lot to do with what audience it can get into the theater for that. If you see a red cape at all in the, I really mean this. If you see a red cape at all in the teaser or the trailer for that, I think it guarantees another 20 or 30 million opening weekend that it would not have had. I will go that far.
All right, Maniac Madness 11. Did you ever get a chance to see Happy Death Day to You?
I did not. I heard mediocre things, and I had planned on going, and at the point that I finally said, yeah, I've got an evening, I guess I'll go see that movie, it was not playing anymore because it did not do well. So I will watch it on video probably. Eric didn't see it either. Eric's girlfriend, who's a massive horror fan, like, knows more than anyone we've ever known about horror, has seen it, and she said it was predictable. So I'm not excited about it, but I will probably watch it.
All right, DeJuan Patterson Powers, are you looking forward to Spawn issue 300?
No, I'm not. I don't buy Spawn anymore. I might thumb through it, but yeah, I don't. I sold all my Spawn a couple of years ago. I'm still reeling about it. I still feel funky, weird about it. But I have to be careful. It's a slippery slope. I was in, doing Spawn year, was reading that stuff and reviewing it for 2 whole years. It was such a part of my life that if I go back and buy one, I will have a hard time not ending up buying all of it again. So yeah, I stay away. I do.
All right, jumping back down to the super chats. Christian Ogden, can we know the next superhero rewind?
No. No, I'm so originally it was supposed to be split. I don't know if that's going to be the next one now because I've ended up waiting so long. So yeah, I don't want to say anything about it. It is, I've said this before, it is easier for me to write those when nobody knows exactly what I'm working on, and sometimes I will go ahead and announce them when I'm like, you know, pretty well into one, or you know, I know for sure what I'm working on and that I've got a head start on it. But yeah, right now, I know what the next thing is, but I don't really want to mention it yet. So yeah, go ahead.
All right, Blue Dragon.
Well, and also, let me go back. I said I don't know if Split will not be the next thing, but it will probably happen sooner rather than later, because it's weird that I started on that and I didn't finish it. But I will get that out at some point. I said, yes, Split. Glass made everything weird. I just could not get it finished before I saw that movie, and then it was very bizarre, and I didn't finish it. But anyway, so yes, I am keeping that a surprise. Go ahead. How many have we answered?
35.
Wow, and we are 36 minutes in. Go ahead.
Blue Dragon 5 asks, Cap, would you consider doing a Justice League Mania, watching all of Justice League / Justice League Unlimited?
As a Mania, I don't know, but just as a series, yeah, it could happen. It could be a thing to do down the road in Batchat or whatever Batchat morphs into. I mean, we wouldn't keep calling it Batchat, obviously, but I thought about doing the Batchat thing with other shows at some point. Danny and Dan's News and I are getting back to Batchat soon. And then when we finish the animated series, if those guys are game and they want to keep doing stuff, we are kicking around different shells. So it could be more Bruce Timm. It could be The Batman. We're talking about different things. So,
all right. Our next question is from AMC Comics. Hey, Cap, have you ever watched X-Men Evolution?
I have, but not a ton, and not since it was on. I don't think I've seen one episode of that since the early 2000s. So yeah, at some point I'll go back to it. I don't think I even own that show. It used to be streaming somewhere.
Somewhere. I don't think it is currently. William Parcell asks, do you think Marvel has their heroes fight each other too often?
Yeah, most certainly. Especially if we're talking comics. Yeah. It is a big gimmick. There have been times where it made a lot of sense to do it. Civil War was a really good idea. It didn't turn out great, but it was a good idea. AVX was also, I think, a good idea, and was a wonderful story. But yeah, we since then we definitely have been doing it too often.
All right. Jumping back down to the super chats. Malik Meyer says, thank you for letting me be an artist on the channel.
Yeah, man, your stuff's great.
If you could write a comic for Marvel, what artist would you want to work with?
Ooh, and for Marvel specifically, goodness. Man,
I've never heard of That'd be a cool book though.
Yeah, it would. That's gonna be my new comic. It's gonna be called The Man Who Would Have Said Too Much. How am I blanking this hard on this? I guess the deal is I'm thinking about like artists that are there right now, and they don't have a big stable of guys that I'm really excited. Like, I would love, just going to people that have worked at Marvel, I would love to write something for Barry Windsor Smith. I think Windsor Smith would have been a great artist to work with. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Obviously McFarlane. And like I know he would never go to Marvel again, but like, you know, if you could have your druthers, like he'd be a big one. Man, we have to keep moving on. I want to keep thinking about this, but like not Jim Lee because he takes too long. You know, I just don't know if it would ever. I don't know if it would ever come out. But
yeah. Nicholas Robinson asked, "Who are some of your favorite female heroes?"
I answered this a few shows ago, but I'll do it again real quick. This is easier to do now because I did it before. A lot of them are Batman characters. We talked about this, and I was like, Marvel's got a lot of like, fun female X-Men characters, but I'm like a giant fan of anybody. Like I want to say Rogue, but like probably not. But I guess a lot of my favorite characters, a lot of female superheroes are again Batman characters. Like I like Huntress a lot, particularly Earth 2 Huntress. And I like and I like Cassandra Cain a lot. And then you said favorite Batgirl, probably Cassandra Cain, but I like all of them. And there are very few of those kind of legacy characters with a mantle that goes to a lot of different people that I can say I like them all. Like nobody would probably ever say I like every Green Lantern. And there are a lot of Green Lanterns, so that's hard to do too. But I do really like all of the Batgirls we've had.
All right. Maniac Madness 11. Have you already done a superhero rewind on season 1 of Heroes?
I have not. That's one I've really considered doing. If I did Heroes at all, it would only be that season. There is no reason to do any more of that show. It is complete. It is one and done. It keeps repeating itself after that. And it gets really super convoluted. I would like to do that. I don't know how much interest there would be in that. Heroes is one of those things that has not stood the test of time real well for people, as we could tell by the complete lack of interest that there was in the relaunch when it came back with Heroes Reborn. That was also terrible. But nobody seemed to care even before they knew what it was. But anyway, yeah, that is on my bucket list. I would like to do that at some point. I'm kind of expecting 15 people to watch that, but I would like to talk about that at some point.
All right, Professor.
I got opinions. I got many opinions.
Professor Zoom 21. Kat, is Rebirth better than New 52?
Overall, absolutely. I mean, there is some great stuff in 52, certainly. But at the very least, just the way that company's attitude changed and the way they treated creators and allowed people to take risks and go their own way more and not be so... I'm not saying that editorial doesn't still have mandates and doesn't still kind of make people do things that they want sometimes, but it was at its worst at 52 with the micromanaging. And I just think you can tell the difference with a lot of the stories and just the overall direction of that. And they embraced the legacy of DC without just constantly repeating themselves too much like they have in the past. There was some of that with Superman especially. But like, again, Metal was like going back to the well with, we cannot get away from interdimensional stuff, but it made it so fresh again. It was like nothing I'd ever read. And I don't know if you would have seen anything like that during 52.
All right. Kellen O'Rourke asks, Ezra Miller recently did an interview about the Flash movie. He says they might introduce the multiverse. Do you think this is a good or a bad idea?
Bringing back the multiverse in what now?
In the DCEU. Ezra Miller, the actor for the Flash.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they claimed the DCEU, which I guess we were supposed to stop calling it that because that was never a thing that Warner said it was. I've looked into this a little bit, and apparently that was true. So strange that that's just something that somebody came up with, and that's what we've all been calling it all this time. But anyway, they claimed that was totally dead. So doing like bringing up a multiverse just to tie it all together so we do have like a DCEU, I think it's premature. If they do that, I hope they still stick to their guns and say, yeah, but the continuity doesn't matter until it matters. I don't want that Flash movie to be all about continuity at this point, because I just don't think we need them to make a thing to patch that up if they no longer care about an ongoing continuity. If they're just telling stories, I don't need that. If they thought that was a priority and they had to keep doing the MCU thing, then doing Flashpoint, okay, whatever. But at this point, with their rhetoric, I don't know that that's the way to go, and I think it might just serve to confuse people. But I could be mistaken. I could be wrong. They could have their cake and eat it too, and basically just make separate movies and still have a continuity because of a multiverse. So I can see both sides to it. But right away, I don't know that it's a great idea.
All right. Shane Williams asks, what are your thoughts on the What If series for Disney Plus?
Love that idea. Love it so much. Now, Marvel has not had a great track record with animation in the last few years, but if it's a thing they're doing for the Disney Plus streaming service, it could be, a completely different kind of thing. And I imagine isn't going to be made just for kids. So I don't want to immediately say, well, it's animated and it's Marvel, so I can't trust it. I've wanted to steal What If thing forever. The idea that they have pitched with that, I don't know if you've heard about this, Danny, is...
No, I've not yet.
The idea they've pitched is it's not in MCU canon, but it takes things in MCU and makes what ifs out of them and says what if things specifically in those movies happen differently.
That's nice.
That's what I've always wanted. I mean, that would be fantastic. So, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with voiceovers and stuff. It'd be really cool if they could get some of those actors to actually come in and do the voices instead of finding sound-alikes. But I think a not canonical, but dealing with that material what if thing, That is music to my ears. I'm so excited about that.
All right, our next question is a super chat from Bag Studios. Which would you choose between being a replicant on the run hunted by Harrison Ford, being chosen for the Hunger Games, or being lost in the Jakku desert?
Oh, Justin, you always come up with these weird, like survival situation kinds of questions. Okay, so Jakku was one, and Replicants was one, and what was the other one?
Hunger Games.
Definitely not Hunger Games. That sounds horrifying. I mean, they're all horrifying. I think I'd take my chances on Jakku, probably. Although I don't like deserts. I don't like the heat. So that'd be tough. I don't know. Which one would you pick, Danny? Replicants? Just be in that universe. Surprised he didn't put Predator in that list.
I'm gonna go with Jakku.
Jakku, yeah, sure. And then when you survive, you're rewarded by getting into a jacuzzi.
The Juan Patterson powers. Who are some of your favorite Batman writers?
Batman writers. I like Denny O'Neil a lot. I like Paul Dini a lot. I like a lot of stuff in Morrison that I've read. Tom King is certainly getting up there for me. I like Alan Grant a lot. Those are some names.
All right. Our next question is from Blue Dragon 5. Cap, what would you pitch for Lego Batman 2?
Lego Birds of Prey before the DC before the live action movie gets to get to it, just because I think that would have been absolutely hilarious. I don't know. I think it would be fun to do like more movie parody stuff. If they did a plot that was actually like built around a famous story that we all know really well, and that could be really fun. I think you can kind of get away from the it's actually kids playing with Legos thing, because after Lego Movie 2, that has kind of broken down for me a little bit anyway. And that first movie, I just don't buy that there's any kid that knows that much about Batman, especially that kid that was supposedly from the first movie, from the Lego Movie. So like, I think you can kind of do anything you want with it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have like a brilliant pitch right off, but I think it would be fun to get away from. I mean, we did some fun 60s Batman stuff. We did some fun other, parroting other movies. But I think it would be kind of fun to do like the superhero movie thing. Funny I'm saying that because that movie's terrible. But like pick a Batman movie and do kind of a straight parody. I think would be kind of fun. Lego Hush is an amusing idea.
Kellen O'Rourke asks, "What do you think of Batman Hush?"
It's not great. I've reviewed it before, so you can go check that out. But yeah, it breaks down kind of hard. Heart of Hush is brilliant though. So we did redeem that character. We've done some cool stuff with that.
All right, our next question is a super chat from Jerry Martis. Hello, I love your Batcave decor.
Hi. Thanks.
Blue bat sign is fantastic. Have you gotten any new Batcave stuff in the past few months?
Yeah, actually quite a bit. I think I've shown most of it on camera. I just got a new thing that I'll show on New Acquisitions this coming week. But David Crabtree sent me some things, and he sent me this replica 66 bat phone that actually works. And I haven't gotten to plug this in yet, Danny, but this does light up, and awesome. I've seen video of what it does. It doesn't sound exactly like that phone, but it's close enough and it looks really good. I've always wanted one. I'm thinking about putting a landline down here. That is like an emergency line or something just to receive calls. This is a receiver phone. It only receives calls, Danny. And I think that's absolutely great. I'm very excited about it. What else have I gotten in here recently? Just some wall decor stuff and stuff that I can't really get up and show you really easily. I've got Michael Keaton over here, who I've shown off. I got him a few months ago. Yeah, always new stuff coming to the Batcave.
Nice. Our next question is a super chat from C. Kruger. Have you tried Bill Shatner's new Kirk bourbon whiskey? Tying it into the beginning of the show.
Was that actually a thing that Shatner endorsed? Because I didn't realize that. I actually have it right here on my desk. This is the James T. Kirk Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Danny. I got this recently from Jeffrey Patron, who came just the other day, and we did a review of this, and we're going to post it on the channel this week. I didn't love it. It's growing on me a little bit. It's not good with ice. It's good. We hated it with ice, and then we had it straight, and it was better.
All right.
How many questions have we answered?
He
lost track. He lost count. Yeah. He's not.
I think we're like 3 away from 49.
49.
Nicholas Robinson.
Yeah.
Says, would you recommend Kingdom Come to someone who is anti-Superman or doesn't understand the character?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't want to answer that because it's been years since I've read Kingdom Come. I don't feel like that's maybe necessarily the book that would win you over on Superman. Like the Superman that kind of gave up and finally comes back again later on after superheroes are no longer superheroes and kind of just take advantage of people. I don't know if that's the thing to win people over on Superman with, but maybe I would need to read it again. Certainly that before some other, kind of dystopian things where Superman like takes over, I'd give people that before I gave them Red Sun, but I don't know.
Mutale asks, what are your thoughts on Idris Elba taking over as Deadshot?
Is that happening? Is that news? I have not heard that.
I heard it, but I don't know if it was confirmed.
Okay. That's interesting if that is the case. I don't know. I would have to see him in action. I'd have to see what his take was.
All right, and question number 52 from Bag Studios.
Yeah!
After Captain Marvel, is the public ready for Green Lantern?
I think the public has been ready for Green Lantern since Guardians. I don't think I don't think you need a Captain Marvel for that. I think you needed fun, quirky space adventure that people actually that actually had the confidence to be what it was, and then win people over, and it did. I think I wouldn't want a Green Lantern that was just a carbon copy of Guardians, but yeah, I think people have been ready for Green Lantern at least since 2014, and I don't know that people were not ready for Green Lantern in 2011. It's just not good. I think Green Lantern could have done what Guardians did if it was more sure of itself and if it wasn't so cookie cutter, and if that character was more likable. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it definitely could have worked when the original one came out. We've got another super chat that came in from Bag Studios. He says, "What are your thoughts on the Jay and Silent Bob series?"
I have never watched those, so my only exposure to Jay and Silent Bob now has been watching Mallrats. That's it. So I may at some point actually take a look at that, but Eric says I won't like it, but I may look at it just because I like being well-rounded and knowing things, and people have asked me that before, so I might look at it. Is that 52?
That was number 53, actually.
Okay, so not only did we do 52 questions in less than an hour, not only did we answer an extra one, but we did all of that in 52 minutes. We did 52 in 52 minutes. Yes! Nailed it. So we've got a little bit more time to tackle anything else we want to tackle. Are there any other super chats we haven't gotten to?
No, that was the last one I wanted to go.
Did we get all the super chats? Wow, cool. All right, well, there we go. We knocked out the challenge, and we did it in less than we needed to. So that's exciting. I think we did okay.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of questions we probably talked about before, but I wanted to throw some stuff in there for the newer viewers because there were a lot of new names asking questions. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was more repeat than we usually get on the show. It's kind of surprising how, and I'm not complaining. It's surprising how doing this weekly we have not gotten more repeat questions than we've gotten, and I don't mind occasionally answering a question I've answered before for precisely that reason, Danny.
Yeah. There it is. Nicholas Robinson, in response to his other question about Kingdom Come, he asks, would you recommend All-Star Superman?
Absolutely. And a lot of people think of All-Star as a pretty okay first Superman story to read, although my issue with that has always been it's so good that I don't want to say it all goes downhill from there, but like All-Star Superman is one of the best Superman stories. So when you start from there, it is hard to find a lot of stories that are just as good as it is. But it is a nice self-contained thing and gives you a really good sense of that character and that world, and does really fascinating things with it. Man, it's been years since I've read All Star too. Do you have this sometimes, Danny, where like you try to consume so much stuff and you get enough years away from a thing that you love that you're like, I don't even feel qualified to talk about this anymore?
So one of the first comics I read when I was really getting into reading like trades and reading stuff that wasn't just like the single issue that I found randomly somewhere like a flea market was Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
By Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
And that is not a book I recommend someone who doesn't have a full grasp of like comics as a medium to read. And I really need to go back and reread that one so I can actually feel like I know what is going on in that book, because I feel so underqualified.
I haven't read that in 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
I've never reviewed it.
Yeah, I
gotta do that at some point. Gotta get Danny on some comic reviews. I don't think you and I have ever done a Batman comic.
No, we haven't. And I'm currently reading through all of No Man's Land from Cataclysm on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It would be fun to revisit that. I have done those, but I haven't done Cataclysm. Or no, maybe I did. I did do Cataclysm, actually.
You
I
did,
have talked about
because
that.
after I finish one, I'll go and listen to your comic vault on it.
they're not thorough enough, right? I did not spend enough time on them.
For what all is in there, probably not, but it's also like 20-minute episodes per volume. So
yeah, but these days, like, really, Cap, you spent 20 minutes on a volume of a thing you always talk about? What is wrong with you? Yeah, back then I cared more about time limits, I guess. Eric and I can't do anything in less than 45 minutes. And Back Studios wants to know what our favorite kinds of Oreos are.
Red Velvet.
Those are pretty good. I just prefer the standard original Oreo, and I like it better in ice cream than I like it by itself.
Yeah, I agree. Have you seen the Oreos that are cookies and cream filling?
No, that's crazy.
It makes no sense.
You are a cookie already. You're already a cookie. Oh man, Danny, I wish we had you on a GNN just so you could make that your rant. That is like a giant cupcake. It's just a cake. Like, it's just like that.
If I ever am on like a GNN, I'll have to like save that one and really go into my rant, so I'll save all the things I have to say about that.
Danny, we have Dan's News just said cookieception. I think all the Dans were in the chat tonight, by the way. I think I saw Tori, Dan Tori in there too.
Yep, he was here.
Guys, it looks like there is a good chance that I'm going to see all three Dans in person sometime this year. I'm pretty excited about that.
Just in time for the 10-year anniversary of Geekvolution.
That's right. Yeah, I wish I could get all three of you guys in one room. I wish we could just have like a Danny, like a Geekvolution Dan convention.
I would love to do that if we could like somehow manage to get everyone's schedules to line up. That
would be amazing. Dan's just wrote that the Dan signal was out. We put out the Dan signal and all the Dan shut up. Guys, we have a couple of minutes left. Danny, did we have any other good questions that you didn't get to? And thanks everybody for the questions, by the way. This didn't work if we didn't have 52 questions. So thank you guys so much for asking so many things. And a lot of really good ones too.
Yes. There was one question I really wanted to talk about, but it would have been too long to address here. So I was thinking about saving it for another episode.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You're welcome to.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and save that one because I think it could be a good like 5-10 minute discussion potentially. I'll go back through this list because I still got a lot actually.
Wow, thanks guys.
Oh, here's a good one from Cinematographic. Given the direction of Avengers Endgame, when the Fantastic Four are inevitably put into the MCU, at what point do you think it'll be a case of too little, too late?
I mean, it's hard to say. And this question I've been addressing a lot with X-Men. I don't know about it with Fantastic Four. I do think that is an easier thing to put in later than X-Men will be. We've been talking about that a lot on the channel lately, trying to figure out like what the best way to do that is, and if there's any way to do it that's not going to feel like really contrived or convoluted. So yeah, it's hard to say. It's possible that we would never end up saying too little, too late. It's possible that that Feige and those guys will find a good enough way to get all those integrated and have a good enough take that we'll be glad that even if we would have liked it to have happened earlier, that they're there and that they help to round out the universe.
Yeah, it would be weird having the first family in Marvel finally and them not be the first family.
Yeah, I don't want them to do, and I'm not saying this is a problem with Captain Marvel, because just as I expected, no major spoilers for Captain Marvel, just as I suspected, they made that a thing that does not feel like a massive retcon as far as, oh, look, there's a superhero in the 90s, but we didn't have superheroes yet. We didn't think. I don't think they should do that with Fantastic Four. I think it worked fine for Ant-Man. I think it worked fine for Captain Marvel. I think FF does kind of need to be now, unless they were like another secretive thing, and then they got sucked into a vortex, and then they just come out now. I could see doing something like that. I could see like Reed Richards accidentally sucks the family into a vortex, and they go into another universe or another time or something, and they just come out now, and they should have been here all along, but they were sucked in a vortex. They were in the negative zone for like 20 years.
Yeah, I could see that.
They do something like that.
It might feel a little too much like Ant-Man, but I mean,
that's a good point.
Now we do have another super chat from Bag Studios. So the internet broke today after Facebook blew up.
It did. I don't know how it affected anything else, but all day long I was like, how come I can't send pictures on Messenger? And then I heard from Eric, and he was like, yes, I too cannot send pictures on Messenger. And then I hardly was able to get the link for the show to Danny so we could do the show. And yeah, it has been a weird day. I've never seen Facebook this botched up.
No, it was nuts at work because we do advertising and stuff. So we had to like try to advertise on Facebook, but we couldn't get it to work. So like a majority of the work we do didn't ultimately end up getting used.
Andrew Follett says Instagram is also somewhat down.
Instagram's owned by Facebook, aren't they? So that would make sense.
So there's some kind of internal
server issue,
server thing, or something with the infrastructure. Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for today's show. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We are just over an hour, and Danny, we did it. We answered like 50 several questions.
We did it. I'm super impressed.
Well, thanks, man. Well, good job reading all the questions and keeping them, because if you read like really slow, then we wouldn't have been able to get through this. So that was very important. Like, what is happening with Google Hangouts now?
Yeah, thank God it wasn't Google that was having all this.
Just wrote next week. Cap answers 3 questions. I feel like the rapid fire format would be a fun thing to do more often. I'm afraid if we did this a lot, we would get a lot more repeats.
Yeah, I think this is something to do like after a couple months or so. That way you can kind of like blow through a lot of stuff that maybe just hasn't gotten brought up on the live show yet.
But it is a good way to answer things I've talked about before in more truncated, like in microcosm, like for folks that have not seen certain shows where it's like, well, I never heard what Cap said about that. Oh, okay, that's his basic answer. If people care about certain things like that. So yeah, Bamboo says that you're a good reader. I agree with that.
Which is great because I'm illiterate.
I don't know how you do that. What you guys don't know is that in his headphones he's got somebody reading the questions to him, which is weird. Like, he's the middleman, right? Somebody reads the questions to Danny, and then Danny reads them to me. You've got to wonder how we do it so fast.
I've got my own moderator that moderates like over Skype, so then I can moderate these over Google Hangout. It's this weird like multi-branching type of thing.
Yeah, it's a roundabout way of doing it, but it works ultimately. It doesn't have to make sense.
And I'm never telling Cap my moderator because then I'm out of a job.
Yeah, I keep asking. I'm assuming an AI, really.
It's Siri. It's Siri.
Everybody, thanks as always for watching. We sure appreciate it. We'll see you again next week, same Cap time, same Cap channel. Next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Central. Right after this, here in about 10 or 15 minutes, we're gonna come back, me and DJ, with some more Morphomania for you. We're gonna be watching through some more Power Rangers Zeo. We might get to the first Gold Ranger episode tonight. I'm not sure. I think he is gonna show up in a big secretive way soon, but I'm not sure how close we are to that. So anyway, if you are interested in Power Rangers or you just want to hang out with us some more, come back and check it out. Danny, thanks for all your help, and you can hear Danny Nixon's voice again tomorrow on day 3 of Where Do They Get Those Wonderful Commentaries. All week long, Danny and I are posting very strange and often silly commentaries that we did on the same film, Batman 89, 7 times. And look forward to it. Tomorrow's one of the weirder ones. I said there were a couple that might be borderline unlistenable. That is one of them. So strap in for that. That's your warning. Day 4 is a more. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's today. Well, I was going to mention day four, but actually the one I'm talking about I haven't posted yet. That is today's. But I posted yesterday so late I haven't posted it yet. Anyway, so yeah, that one's weird. 4 is more straightforward. 5 is not. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it, and we will see you again next week. Danny, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone who asked all the wonderful questions.
Where do they get those wonderful questions? See you later, folks. I'm Captain Logan.
And I was Danny. Bye.
Bye.